My name's Jeremy Sackett. I'm the founder and chief science officer of Cascade Labs. We're an analytical testing lab started in Oregon and now operating out of Northern California. The Connex conference is great because it brings different stakeholders from different sectors of the industry together. There was a great series of talks. I'm specifically interested in some more of the national perspective. USDA interim rules, came into effect recently. So some good content in the speakers. The CBD market was great to see some of the vendors and different producers and processors that we've worked with before. So kind of bringing folks all together and learning a little bit of new information and seeing folks we haven't seen for a long time really, continues to develop the relationships that we have as a business as well as, as an individual. So it's been great. Yeah, data is super important for making decisions in a regulated industry like the hemp industry or just any industry that's regulated. That data can be used, or even unregulated industries, frankly. Data is super important for making business decisions, but also demonstrating compliance with regulations, in industries like hemp and cannabis. And having opportunities to come to conferences like Connex here and have some of the presentations be data-based and science-based, I think helps different participants in the industry and even farmers or cultivators are using a lot of data these days to make informed decisions on, fertilizers or other, measures that they take to cultivate their plants. And certainly the data in manufacturing of products, be it extraction or formulated goods, using that data to, ensure that the product that you're producing is what you intend it to be. And that's all that R&D type or process control data that's, can be done at a testing laboratory, or even some groups are doing it on site at the farm or at the manufacturing site. So we've really seen a growth in the cannabis and hemp industries over the last 5-6 years, and a growth in a recognition of the importance of that data. It's been a great evolution in the industry. Some of the issues with testing of cannabis or hemp varieties is, there hasn't been requirements for that historically. Up until about 5 years ago, 6 years ago or so, there really were no testing requirements and really no standards for testing practices. Those tests being cannabinoid potency, how much THC or CBD there is, pesticides or other contaminants. There are now at least some adopted standards, but it really is not as widespread a standard practice as it would be for testing a food commodity or a motor oil or drinking water. Those standards have been available for decades, and many different laboratories have worked to develop those. There's been a lot of scientific committees that provide feedback and further continually improve those standards. In the cannabis industries, sometimes like with cannabinoids, we're looking for targets that haven't really been looked for before, other than just to say, yes, it has THC or no, it doesn't, for, law enforcement purposes. As we're trying to measure and quantitate, these major cannabinoids and minor cannabinoids, there's a lot of challenges with that. Even some of them don't have reference materials to use to calibrate our instruments with. But that's changed a lot, and I think that the ongoing challenges with testing do relate to, a lack of standards, which do continually become more and more so available, but also a lack of, in sometimes collaboration between different testing laboratories or different businesses in the testing laboratory sector. Because it is very competitive, there is less sharing of methodology. There's less round-robin testing where multiple labs come together and test the same sample to show that they can get the same results, oftentimes in some type of industry association. Certain states do require that proficiency testing, and certain states do look at those types of processes to ensure the quality of the testing labs, but it's inconsistent throughout the states. I do look forward to future federal regulations that will oversee the testing laboratories both in the hemp space as well as the cannabis space. Yeah, it's unfortunate that many consumers are just drawn to that THC number when choosing a product, or a CBD number on a hemp product. Speaking to flower specifically and inhaling flower, a traditional way of consuming cannabis, it really, it's so variable, in that flower, from one flower to the other across a large batch, or even one part of the plant to another. The amount of cannabinoids is highly variable in the plant itself. let alone when you grind it up and you're not measuring the dose that you're inhaling. You roll it into a joint or put it into a pipe to smoke it, and you take a small hit or a big hit, and that can really vary that dose, so you're not metering the dose. So really, if you're driving towards a single potency number to make your decision, you're misinformed, because that number may not be fully representative of the batch. You're not metering your dose. So it really should, in my opinion, go back to a sensory experience. Do you like the smell of it? Do you like the look of it? Have you tried it before and like this? Or can you relate the overall cannabinoid profile? More so, is it high THC? Is it high CBD? Is it a mixture of THC and CBD? And what are the 2 or 3 most predominant terpenes? Using that type of information versus this is 22% to 25% THC, and making a decision on that is going to be much more beneficial for a consumer to just more generalize and even be more informed, because you're looking at some additional compounds, the terpenes, or a ratio of THC and CBD. Because really that 22 and 25 is the exact same number, and if you don't like the smell and taste of the 25 and you do the 22, you're missing out. So yeah, that's what I think about the THC conundrum.
Right.
Along with Cascadia Labs, I participate with a group called Smart Cannabis. We've been the core engine, I guess, doing the data processing and evaluation for the Cultivation Classic event that's here in Portland, Oregon. We have entries that are both THC predominant cannabis varieties and also hemp CBD or other hemp type varieties that are entered to this evaluation. And it's an extended evaluation process with a double-blind evaluation where the cannabis flowers are consumed and responses and feedback given by those evaluators, and then all that data is compiled to do several different types of awards based on likability, flavor, and look and smell of the different varieties, and experience as well. And then we have a great awards ceremony and big party with different speakers and vendors, and that happens every May in Portland. And this coming year we'll be working towards a small pilot event in Northern California, hoping to grow that educational and just cultural and fun event in the California area as well.